You guys seem to love my luxury versus clone fragrances, so this is part 2. Listen, if you're convinced that clone fragrances can't match their luxury counterparts, stick around because this video might change your mind. Some of these are scary close. And don't take any of this stuff too seriously. At the rate I'm going, next week this channel will be horror movie reviews anyways. And let's start with something bright and clean. This is Rayhaan's Pacific Aura, and it's a clone of Louis Vuitton's Pacific Chill. And this has all the makings of a perfect clone. Pacific Chill costs $350 at retailers, and it doesn't go to discounters, so you have to expect to pay full price for it. Now, Pacific Aura doesn't have the high-end quality of Pacific Chill, but it does give you that Pacific Chill experience. If you have this and you wear it, you'll understand what makes Pacific Chill so good. So some say this fragrance smells like a fresh mojito. So let's check out Pacific Aura's notes. Pacific Aura opens with a cooling mint and a zesty blend of citron, mandarin, and bergamot, balanced by the fruity sweetness of blackcurrant and a touch of spicy coriander. In the mid, there's an herbal combination of basil with a touch of rose and carrot seed. The dry down settles into a smooth base of warm amber, sweet fig, and a marine-like accord from ambroxan. This is a fresh and classy scent that can be worn for all occasions, with enough versatility that it can actually be worn to formal events as well. And that is exactly what makes this fragrance so appealing. Now, it currently goes for about $45 at discounters, but that price will likely come down in the future because it is a new release. Now, if you're looking for this, don't make the mistake of buying Rayhaan Pacific. It comes with a similar name in a similar looking bottle, but it's definitely not the same, and it is much more affordable. So if you're the type of guy who washes his armpits in the sink and then considers himself good to go, don't worry, help is on the way. So Rayhaan Pacific Aura is an easy recommendation over Pacific Chill because you get that experience without paying for the Louis Vuitton name. Oh, and this also outperforms the original. And next up is one I'm excited to tell you about because I just recently got it. This is Bentley Silverlake, and this is a clone of Acqua di Gio Essenza, a discontinued fragrance. So I have Acqua di Gio Profondo here because I don't have the discontinued Essenza fragrance. But if you're familiar with the Acqua di Gio line of fragrances, then you know that they all share a similar DNA and a similar scent profile. So this is a gorgeous, fresh, citrus and aquatic fragrance. This opens with a burst of zesty lemon and crisp peppermint. It's icy fresh and energizing. As it develops, notes of soft lavender, green violet leaves, and a hint of spicy pink pepper emerge, giving it an aromatic freshness. In the dry down, it settles into a smooth, masculine, and warm base of white musk and amberwood. This is a really nice pickup, and it's going for about $36 right now. This is another versatile fragrance that can be worn anywhere, and the performance is good. I get about 6 to 8 hours on the skin with medium projection. So this stuff smells amazing. But if you're out here wiping back to front, you got bigger battles to fight than fragrance. And you were probably raised by raccoons. Now, you can't go wrong with anything in the Acqua di Gio line, but this is a nice representation. It's very affordable. I think it's a really nice fragrance, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. Next up, we have a twist. You see, this is not a clone fragrance. This is Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. You know, the one they used to spray around in all the mall stores in the 90s? Now, some of you probably weren't even born yet, but this stuff is good. So good, in fact, that Parfums de Marly released Percival, and this is kind of an interpretation of Fierce. So Percival actually brought Fierce back into the spotlight. And this is a DNA of a fragrance that's so good that Abercrombie & Fitch actually built their entire business around this fragrance. Fierce opens with a crisp, invigorating burst of citrus, piney fir, and spicy cardamom with a hint of marine air. In the mid, it transitions to a clean, aromatic blend of herbal rosemary and sage, softened by light floral touches of jasmine and rose. It dries down to a masculine base dominated by warm musk, creamy sandalwood, and earthy vetiver and oak moss. And I think the best way to describe this is that it has sharpness and warmth, but it's probably the most masculine fragrance you'll ever smell. Now for the downside. This is an eau de cologne concentration, and it's pretty weak. I get about 4 to 5 hours with light to medium projection out of it. So Percival is a higher quality take, especially in the opening. And this is not cheap, it's about $70. So based on the performance and the price, I can't really recommend this. That being said, I still love it. So if you want a similar scent profile that's stronger and cheaper, you could go with Mont Blanc Legend. And this is about $40 at discounters. This is the EDP version. And now moving into a warmer and spicier fragrance, we have Dusk from the Woods collection. And this is a clone of Parfums de Marly's Layton. This stuff is excellent for a night out. This is a sweet, spicy, and woody fragrance. And there's a reason why Parfums de Marly Layton is one of the most loved fragrance releases of all time. And Dusk really nails it. The only knock on this is that the atomizer is one of the worst I think I've ever seen. And you probably get an idea seeing that. Dusk opens with a burst of fruity and herbal notes, specifically apple, mandarin orange, and lavender. This transitions into soft florals of jasmine, geranium, and violet. The dry down is where the warmth and depth of the fragrance come through. It settles into a rich base of vanilla, cardamom, pepper, sandalwood, patchouli, and other woody notes. And I get 6 to 8 hours with nice projection out of this. So Layton is a masterpiece fragrance, and if you're looking for compliments, you can't do much better. And Dusk really nails it. I'm a huge fan of this and I highly recommend it. Okay, real story. I know a girl who was on a date at a fancy restaurant. The guy she was with took out his comb at the table and dipped it into his water glass and began combing his hair right there at the table.
Gross.
Now, if that's the level of competition we're dealing with, this is gonna make you look like Zac Efron. So last week I told you about Cahiers Intense, and that's a clone of Givenchy's Gentleman Reserve Prive. But apparently Cahiers Intense is either sold out or discontinued. So I decided to pick up another clone to try it out. This is Riffs Vendome. This is also a clone of this. So is this the answer you've been waiting for? The perfect clone of Gentleman Reserve Prive? Well, sort of. The opening is very, very nice, and I was actually really impressed, and it left me really hopeful. Vendome opens with a fresh burst of zesty bergamot. The initial freshness transitions into a sophisticated heart featuring aromatic nutmeg and iris. Vendome settles into a base of warm whiskey, rich amber, and earthy woodsy notes. So I tested these two side by side, and this has a gorgeous opening that's really close to Gentleman Reserve Prive. I was actually really impressed. The problem is, after about 10 minutes into the dry down, this kind of turns into kind of a light, generic amber and woods fragrance. Meanwhile, throughout the dry down, Gentleman Reserve Prive is still pumping out this gorgeous powdery iris note. You get chestnuts, you get whiskey note. It's just much more complex and interesting. So I've been pretty impressed with Riffs fragrances. This is actually the first miss for me. But you guys recommended in the comments Zamaya Inekis Luna. So I've picked that up and I'll be testing that next week. But if Axe body spray is still your go-to signature scent, this might just blow your mind. In the meantime, just get the original. And our sixth fragrance on today's list is Khadlaj Island Vanilla Dunes. And that's a clone of Parfums de Marly's Althair. And in case you're not aware, Althair is a warm, spicy, amber vanilla fragrance that's very gourmand, and some say it smells like freshly baked gingerbread. And it's a very popular fragrance. In 2024, Fragrantica users voted Althair Fragrance of the Year. And Vanilla Dunes captures that magic. I mean, it's shockingly close. Vanilla Dunes opens with a beautiful burst of warm spices and fresh citrus. You get prominent notes of cinnamon and cardamom with a slight floral sweetness of orange blossom. In the mid, it has a sophisticated bourbon vanilla. It is smooth, boozy, and rich. The base settles into warm and woody notes. So if you love sweet, mass-appealing gourmand fragrances, this is a no-brainer. And this actually emphasizes the vanilla and cinnamon aspect of the Althair fragrance, whereas this tends to be a little bit nuttier. And Vanilla Dunes last 8+ hours on the skin, even outperforming the original fragrance. And testing them side by side, they're almost indistinguishable. That's how good of a clone it is. So you could also get French Avenue's Liquid Brune, which is also nearly identical to the original fragrance. Some people report this has more of a little bit of a green note from the orange blossom in it though. So if you're the type of guy who picks his shirt up off the floor and does the smell test, this will help. So I'm excited to tell you about the next one, but you have to love really sweet and very fruity fragrances. This is Haramain's Amber Oud Gold. And this is a clone of Xerjoff's Erba Pura. Now I have samples of Erba Pura, but I'm going to be comparing this to Xerjoff's Erba Gold. And this is kind of a more updated, modern version of Erba Pura. It's a little smoother and a little more refined. So this is very fruity, very syrupy, and very sweet. And it has a musk in it that, to my nose, seems to make it a little bit more masculine than the Xerjoff fragrances. And I had a friend, and he's a blue-collar worker. I recommended this fragrance to him. He bought it, and he texted me back a one-word response to describe it, which was astonishing. Now, it didn't surprise me that he liked the fragrance, but his choice of words shocked me because that doesn't sound like something he would normally say, but this is that good. This opens with a fresh burst of sparkling bergamot and crisp green notes. In the mid, it features a prominent juicy blend of melon and pineapple along with other sweet gourmand notes. There is a candy-like sweetness in the mid. As the scent dries down, it settles into a base of smooth vanilla, soft white musk, and woody notes. And on top of all that, this one is a fragrance monster. It lasts like 10 to 12 hours on the skin. This thing costs about $35. So if you think you might like something that's fruity, sweet, and smells kind of like a candy, get this one. So if you're the type of guy who hasn't washed your sheets since you took them out of the package, get this and thank me later. I like this as much as the original fragrance. And next up, we're getting an inspiration of one of my favorite fragrances. This is Paris Corner's Mauge Cognac Blaze. And this is inspired by, but not a clone of, by Kilian's Angel Share. And this is pretty much my favorite fragrance in my entire collection. So these are both sandalwood, tonka bean, and vanilla fragrances with a boozy note. Now some will say that this is a Lattafa Kamra Kawa clone because they both share a coffee note. And I'm not going to argue semantics, I'm just saying it's an inspired by. They both have a similar DNA. And take a look at the two bottles here. What do you think they were trying to do? The bottles are nearly identical. And I sometimes wonder how many of these Clone House original fragrances were actually just failed clone attempts. In any case, this is a very nice fragrance and it's worth checking out. Cognac Blaze opens with juicy mandarin, grassy davana, and a hint of rich coffee. In the mid, it features a warm, spicy, and woody combination of myrrh, black pepper, and creamy sandalwood. It settles into a luxurious base of sweet tonka bean, soft musk, and warm vanilla. Now, if you noticed in the fragrance notes, there was no whiskey or cognac note listed. However, a boozy note is the first thing you smell when you smell this fragrance. So I'm not sure if that's an unlisted note or what, but it is kind of strange that a fragrance named Cognac Blaze doesn't have any whiskey or cognac in it. Now, I actually love Angel Share, as I said. It's an awesome fragrance. It's also very expensive, but it is one that I do feel is worth the price. Somehow I justify it anyways. But for $35, if your budget doesn't allow, this is really good. So if you're the type of guy who a blacklight would turn your bedroom into a Jackson Pollock painting, get this, you won't be disappointed. So next up, we have another fragrance that's in this same family, and it's probably actually inspired by Gisa Sava, but a lot of people say it reminds them of Lattafa Kamra. And that fragrance is French Avenue's Royal Blend Nero. Now, while this is not a one-to-one clone of anything, I shoehorned it into this list because I've been wanting to tell you guys about this one. Royal Blend Nero opens with a fresh, fruity burst of green apple and bright bergamot, which immediately transitions to a warm, aromatic nutmeg spice. In the mid, you get a spicy core dominated by warm cinnamon and rich dry woods with a hint of luxurious saffron. It dries down to a creamy sweet trail of vanilla, benzoin, and tonka bean, leaving a warm amber finish. Now, dates are not a listed note, but they're definitely in there. Now, if Kamra is a slice of apple pie, then this is a slice of warm apple pie with a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top. Now, this is a very powerful fragrance, so ignore the ass influencers who are telling you to put on 14 sprays. This lasts 10 plus hours on the skin and it projects like a monster. You really have to be careful with how many sprays you put on. And this can be found at discounters in the low $30 range. I definitely recommend this and Kamra. So I've seen someone rub a car air freshener on their clothing like it was their signature scent. Huh? That'll be an upgrade. And for the finale, you know it, you love it. It's Armaf's Club de Nuit Précieux 1, and that is a clone of Creed's Absolut Aventus. And if this is not a top 5 clone, I don't know what is. This is a fruity, woody, musky fragrance that has a pineapple and pear note in the opening that is just killer. Précieux 1 opens with a fresh and spicy burst of pineapple, lemon, bergamot, pear, and black pink pepper, sweetened by caramel, offering a sugared fruits impression. In the mid, you get oak moss and white wood with anise, jasmine, and lily of the valley, balancing earthy and subtle floral notes. The dry down is rich in broxin, vanilla, leather, white musk, patchouli, cedar, and amber, resulting in a smooth amber woody finish. So this is an extrait de parfum, and it can be a little bit expensive. It runs about $45 to $55 at discounters, and that's for a 55 ml bottle. And while that might be a little bit high, it's a really good clone of this. And Absolut Aventus runs $610 retail for this size bottle. Now you can get it for about half that at discounters, but still, it starts to make this one look like a real value. Listen, some people don't wash their feet in the shower because they think the soap will get down there anyways. And that's why my work is so important. This is an excellent clone of a stupid expensive fragrance. If your budget allows, just pull the trigger. And that's 10 more luxury fragrances versus their clones. I hope you've enjoyed the content. Let me know down in the comments which ones you've tried and which ones you liked the most. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.